Welcome back to What's Up With WarDtv, where the conversations are real and the stories are powerful and the lessons are life-changing. If this is your first time here, welcome. And for our returning guests, you already know what our motto is. Everybody has a story to tell, but we just want to know what's yours. We discuss love, life, relationships, and everything in between. And if you're not careful, you just might learn something too. If you or someone you know has a story to tell, do not hesitate to reach out to your boy because unlike Dre, I do like new friends. Now, before we get started, I want to to our esteemed guest that I've really been wanting to interview for a long time. I'm excited to meet her, but I want you guys to meet my co-host who's back again for the first time to tell you about what she does and why she's here too. Zena, the floor is yours.
Hey everyone, my name is Xena Williams. I'm also known as Xena. I have a podcast, Sincerely Lady Inc., which is on YouTube as well. So please go like, share, and subscribe to that. I am as well as an author, my content creator on TikTok only, and I make digital products. So I love writing. I love family. I love what it's all about. And in my spare time, I like listening to jazz music, eating authentic food, especially from Mexican, and drinking margaritas and watching Tubi movies. So that is just a little bit of me.
Oh, Tubi movies. Okay.
Movies, yes, I love them.
All right. Well, I'm very impressed with your resume. And
Books turn movies, Mr. Ward. So yeah,
they said you said the books on Tubi are former movies. I mean, no.
so the movies that are on there are like books. So these are written by people and then they turn into movies. I mean, some of the movies are not that. It's just a mixture of it. But that's where Tubi really came from.
Okay. All right. Did not know
Yeah.
that. See, I'm learning again. Ain't this something? Zena, before we start the show, let me ask you real quick because you're definitely a learning person. I was thinking about something that's really been on my mind. I wanted to ask you, what do we call a male ladybug? Never mind.
Uh,
Never mind. Just
oh,
tell me later.
like, what?
You can just tell me later. It was just something on my mind.
Yeah, you need to tell me later because
Okay, it's just food for thought. Okay, I just had to get it out there.
no, okay, I
Uh,
love
uh,
it.
let y'all know. Maybe by the end of the show we have it, but let's
Eh,
go get into it. The reason we're here today is because my guest today is the definition of resilience, in my opinion, reinvention, and responsibility. She is a 30 plus year employee of a large, well known company known as Indigo Transportation. She's a mother of grown children and now raising a small child due to a sudden passing of a relative. She holds multiple degrees and certifications, including her master's degree from the prestigious Martin University. Shout out to HBCUs. And she has a Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification. I want one of those too. And get this, she even began law school before life called her back to her second tour of motherhood. Today, we're talking about juggling it all: grief, growth, career, love, and legacy. Please help me to introduce Miss Aletra Edison. What's up, Aletra, and how you doing?
Hey everybody, I'm well. How are you today?
I'm doing good. If I was doing any better, I'd be taking medicine for myself. So let's go ahead and do this. So, first of all, Aletra, I do want to thank you for being here. I know you could have been anywhere else in the world today, but you chose to be here with the What's Up with War TV audience, and that's the pleasure in itself. And me and Zena could not be happy to have you here. Now, I want to start off with you in your own words, for you telling us who is the person we're about to meet. Who would you say she was?
It's hard for me to talk about myself, which I think we've
Mhm.
discussed that before.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I do want to clarify something first though, because our internet community, they are all top secret CIA investigators. And
Yes.
so I don't want anybody to come back and say that you've given any inaccurate information.
Okay.
I have been with public transit for 31 years this past January,
Oh my
although I
God.
spent my first 9 years as a contractor within the
Oh,
building.
okay.
So so officially I'm a 21-year veteran of Indigo itself. So
Okay.
I just want to make sure just in case they come back and no, that's not true.
Okay.
So
Yeah. I'm glad
yes.
you clarified that because contractors
I'm
to get 9 years in, that's a long time. Boy, you was doing something right.
Yes, I drove paratransit. I worked in every facet of the paratransit world, and I drove fixed route the Route 30 for Mayflower. They were a contractor of ours.
Okay.
And so then we were all transferred into Indigo January 1st of 2004.
Okay. And I'm gonna get to all that too, but I want to get to the more important things first. Then I'm gonna circle back to that. I want to start out with I know you're touring motherhood for the second time. Can you
Yes.
share a little bit about that? About how did that? What happened?
So I actually have two children of my own. Well, really three children of my own. And they're all adults. They're 35, 31, and 31. That's a different story to be had. And then my sister, one of my sisters, so my mom had two children with her husband.
Okay.
And my sister passed away in a car accident in 2021.
Sorry
When
for that.
she passed away, she had a 17-year-old and a 1-year-old. And so my nephew, not to say any part of this was easy, but his transition was a little easier because he had already been living with me to go to school since he was
Mhm.
11. But my niece, however, she didn't know me. She didn't know me at all. I had actually, and I don't tell a lot of people this, but I had only met my niece in passing, right?
Okay.
And so, because she had two parents and my sister was in a volatile relationship with my niece's dad, I chose to remove myself from that relationship.
Okay.
And that brought about my niece. So, her dad died October of 2020 when she turned 1. And then 5 months later, my sister passed. And so, in the process of that, I was her next of kin.
Oh.
It was me. My parents are older. My dad's about to be 73. My sister's dad had already passed away. And then my mom is disabled and she's kicking 70. So it was just me. There was no
Mhm.
one else.
My. What's it like? Well, what was it like juggling all that? Because were you an empty nester at that time?
I was very much an empty nester except for the 17-year-old who was due to graduate in May. And this happened
Yeah.
in January. And I've never had a little girl. Let's start with that
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having a girl was different for me. I'm a total boy mom. Sports,
Okay.
jeans, tennis shoes, hoodies, running a football field, scoreboard keeper, dusty, dirty. That was me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And having a little girl was a change. Having a small child at my age was a change. And I've never been a single parent a day in my life. I was
Mhm.
married the entire time raising my boys.
Yeah.
And so single motherhood again, and having a girl, it has been a challenge.
I bet
It
it
is
is.
such a challenge. Believe it or not, even though I'm her next of kin, the system actually frowns upon letting older adults adopt children
I didn't know
because
that.
because they figure after 50, your life expectancy may be 10, 15, 20 years. If, God is willing and the creek don't rise, you'll make it to 80, 90, 100. But the
Mm-hmm.
system doesn't expect that. So they don't want to let older adults over 50, 55 adopt children for fear they'll be back in the system.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah. So I had to go through those challenges and ensuring that I would be able to keep her because there
Mm.
was no one else. And I didn't want her to go in the system.
Okay.
And I was pending a divorce at the time. And so we had to stop that because that would have hindered the adoption process.
Okay.
So that when you're in a long-term relationship like that and it ends, you grieve it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So I had done my grieving, and I was ready to push on. And then I had to stop the process, then take the time to reassess my entire life, the adoption, being my mom's caregiver, merging two households into one, making sure my nephew was okay because he just lost his parent, making
Mm-hmm.
sure my children were okay because my sister and my oldest son just a couple years apart, about 4 years apart. So that was a challenge in itself. with him grieving
Hmm.
and getting all that together and still having to go to work every day,
Yeah.
still having to deal with life every day, not having the opportunity to grieve myself
Hmm.
because life doesn't stop just because you lose a loved one.
No, it doesn't. Nope.
It doesn't stop. Not at all.
Well, I don't have a lot of stuff going on that in comparison to what you're doing, but sometimes, as you say, life doesn't stop, it keeps going on. Do you feel overwhelmed with it all, or how did you
Oh,
maintain your sanity through it all?
absolutely. Yes. I'm very much overwhelmed. I do not deny that, but I can't live in it. I have to keep pushing. I don't have the mental capacity or the physical time to stop and cry. I still have to take her to school every day. I still have to pick her up. I still have to function at work because the bills still have to be paid. You know,
Right.
I still have to care for my mom. I still have to cook dinner. Like all those things don't stop happening because I feel sad. They just don't. So you just keep pushing.
Yeah. Starting.
That's really all you can do.
Yeah. It's like starting over. Well, what do you think about that, Zena? You got any questions before I move on?
No, from knowing Miss Aletra, it's sensitive for me because I was there when everything transpired. So it's coming from a place of watching her grow, watching her give me advice. So it's pretty emotional right now, Mr. Ward. So I have nothing to say because I'm actually hearing things that I've never heard before. So, between me and Miss Aletra, the journey itself, it's it's personal. So it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
I admire her for her strength. I admire her for even being here. Like when you text me and let me know who you were interviewing, I about fell off the couch, rolled around. When we were younger, they used to be like stop, drop, and roll. Honey, I
Right.
want
Yeah.
to touch my heart, roll off the couch a couple of times, and then just roll out the house because it really. But I knew that when it was time for her to talk, the folks that are listening, please continue to listen. Just continue.
Yeah. That's
I
what we
have
do on
nothing.
this show. That's what we do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't get emotional, Zena. I don't want to cry
Oh,
today.
you know how
Yeah.
I got my lashes. I got to hold on to these mugs for the rest,
Yeah.
and I'm already getting a little teary eyed just
Yeah. Well,
because I'm there when
we ain't gonna do
everything
that. We
everything
ain't gonna
transpired.
cry.
I was
Yeah.
there. I was
Yeah,
there.
y'all, two people could get me to cry, and I don't even cry. So let's just move on. Let's just keep it moving.
You got
Yeah.
me talking, Ward. That's more than most people have
Oh,
done.
I know. I was bugging you. I said I'm gonna keep asking. Like I said, because I got a lot of stuff to talk to you about. So you had mentioned that really you got 21 real years in there, and the contract years 9. So we got that. Can you tell us some of the positions that you kind of held over those years? What some things you've done?
Uh, yeah. So I started out as a coach operator,
That means you
and
drove the
then
bus.
yes, I drove the small bus and the 40-foot bus. But back then it was a 35-foot Buick. But yes, so I've driven, and I'm still a CDL holder. Under the contractor, I was a reservationist, which was what the 635-3344 number. I was a dispatcher, dispatching out the curb to curb service. I was what you call an intake clerk, which was just shy of an administrative assistant, where I did all the paperwork and everything that a human resource generalist does. They called it an
Hmm.
intake clerk.
Okay.
I did that. And then eventually I became the operations manager. And so during my time as the operations manager, I did work at the Indianapolis location, the Louisville location, and I think it was Toledo, Ohio location. So
Mm.
I traveled back and forth doing data
Wow.
entry, payroll, wherever they needed a fill in is what I did. I didn't
Traveling.
have Yeah, I didn't have to travel often, but when I did, it would be for a stretch,
Okay.
7 to 10 days here, 4 or 5 days here, like that. And I love to travel, so that was perfect for me.
Okay.
I'll drive anywhere coast to coast.
Mm.
Yep, so I did that. That was all under the contractor. Then when I switched over to Indigo, I was the administrative assistant for the then director of paratransit operation services. I was his administrative assistant and what they called a managing information systems liaison. So what I did as the MIS liaison is I coordinated between Indigo and outside vendors to bring in new technology. And I managed that technology from conception to inception. And I did all the training and onboarding and managed the software on the server. Because back then we only had one IT person, and that was Mike Schaefer, one person for the whole. Yep. And then they brought in a guy to help him, and so I worked directly with them to bring those systems together. And I did that until 2008, I believe. So about 4 or 5 years, I worked under Mr. Brown, and then I switched over to fixed route services. So as over in fixed route services, they wanted me to do the same thing for our current system that we have because they were still doing everything on paper.
Okay.
So they asked me would I do for them what I did for paratransit. So I was like, sure. So I switched over and I managed the service center staff. And then I went out on the road when necessary, like a transportation supervisor. This service center dispatch scheduling, staffing, payroll, moved the systems around. Myself and another clerk, Joyce Barlow, we actually went to Canada to that vendor for a week to learn how to use the system as system admins. And that was really fun to do. We were in Montreal.
Now, let me ask a question. You had said you did fixed routes. Can you tell us what that means? Fixed route?
Yeah, so fixed route is time point runs. So the big buses, the 40-foot and the 60-foot buses, they go from stop to stop. That's what we call a fixed route because it's on a fixed area, fixed direction, fixed time. Where paratransit is not. It's an on-demand scheduled service.
Okay. So the paratransit, that's a smaller bus that like a little small school bus.
Yes, and it's comparable to all of our fixed route services. It's just on demand. So I could call you and say, hey, can you pick me up at my house at 2:00 and drop me off at Walmart, come back and pick me up at 4:00. That's what on demand is. Fixed route is I'm going to go outside and catch the bus at 2:00, go do my business. And when I'm finished, I'll catch whatever bus is coming back at a bus.
I see. And it's probably cheaper just to catch the fixed route.
Definitely.
Okay, you have a premium on that. Okay, that makes sense. So you obviously did a lot there and you were moving all around there. What made you even apply there in the first place?
I didn't.
You just fell into the job. Okay.
I did. No, actually I did. And I really, truly did. So I always wanted to drive. So I wanted to drive semis, actually. I wanted to do coast to coast semi truck driving. Back when the time where there weren't a lot of women doing that. So I wanted to do it. And I was in training for that. And I was working part-time for a school bus company for another contractor, Sir Durham, was doing IPS.
Okay.
And I was leaving out the license branch one day and I saw one of my uncle's ex-girlfriends and she was like, hey, how you doing? I was like, I'm great. She was like, what you doing now? I was like, oh, doing school bus. And she was like, you want to do that? I was like, no, I'm just doing this while I'm finishing my semi truck driving. So I was with Snyder. And she said, you know what? I got something that you might want to do and it pays a little bit more money. I was like, okay, what's that? She was like, meet me at this place. And then she gave me the address. I'll never forget it. It was 1699 and a half North Shirley Drive. And I was like, what is a half? So I went over there and it was paratransit services. I went and I asked for her and they hired me the same day. And the next week I was working. This was April of 1995. And the next week they put me in the bus in a uniform and I have been here ever since.
Now, I'm glad your friend told you about that place because a friend of mine told me once to meet me at a place like that and we ended up at a strip club. So you got to be careful when they tell you to meet you at them halves. The half get them. Okay. Well, I'm glad that worked out. So you got in there and you turned lemons to lemonade souffle by doing all those positions. Because did you know you
Mhm.
had that in you to bounce to all them positions and travel and do all that?
Yeah, I bore easy.
Okay.
I bore very easy. And at the time, I knew I wanted to do more. I was in school at Ivy Tech and I was on a degree plan. It's a secretary now. But back then we were administrative office technologists, right?
Okay. Okay. I see what you doing there. I
Yeah,
see.
so I was working on the associate's degree in administrative office technology to be a
Yeah.
technologist in paralegal studies. So I
Mm.
always knew that I wanted to be in the justice field in some kind of way. And that was way back in 1995 that I was doing that. So having those skills was what has allowed me to move around because back then computers, people knew of them, but they
Right.
weren't trained on, 'em, right?
Mm.
I
Mm-hmm.
was I was actually being trained on DOS systems and servers and
Mm.
Apple and Microsoft, and I knew how to make a video game. I knew how to create a spreadsheet. I knew all those things because I was an administrative office technologist.
Mm-hmm. There it is. Oop.
Mm.
Wow.
And I love
So,
the fact too, Miss Aletra, that you wanted to drive these big trucks, and you're like,
Mhm.
y'all
Yeah.
don't know how short she is, but why is it always the short ones like us who want to do
Yeah.
these
no,
giant amazing things?
she's not
Because
short,
Yeah.
aren't you? You about 4'11", aren't you, Elise?
I
Just
probably
playing.
was at one point in my life.
I'm just playing. Yeah.
I probably
Yeah,
was at one point in my life.
that is
those are
amazing if you can drive that.
Yeah, and I did. And I probably lasted a good 6 months because it was dangerous for women out there. It really was dangerous. And I didn't realize how dangerous it was until
Yeah.
I got out there. And some of those places that you have to park overnight, and they didn't have driving limits back then. You just drove until you fell out.
Dang.
Yeah, I mean, like now the DOT, you have hours you have to maintain, and they're
You said,
electronic now. Where
oh
back
yeah.
then, you had a paper log, you didn't have to be truthful, so you just
Mm.
drove till you fell out.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the hotels you'd stay in or the parking lot, it wasn't safe. And I was like, yeah, I don't think this is for me at this time.
But was the money good?
Very good. I was
Mm.
rich. I
Damn.
was rich. Like
Rolling it there.
I had enough money that I went to rent a center and I bought my furniture outright.
Just flexed
I
on
was I was balling.
them. Well, with all that going on, I guess you kind of touched on it a little bit, but after you kind of got settled in at the bus company, what
Mhm.
would you consider would be a hard day for you then if you was doing everything? Was there such a thing as a hard day, or they just all hard?
I would say prior to coming into security, I didn't have hard days. I had very busy days, but I actually lived for those days because I was still in college. During all of this, I was still in school. So I've obtained my associate's degree, my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, and into law school.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, turned around and went back to work on a doctoral in legal studies and a bunch of certifications in between. So through all of that, I was in school every minute of that. And so I had busy days without a doubt. Nothing
Uh-huh.
hard though. But coming to security, it's been some hard days.
hmm I think a lot of times people have to have a certain image that they have to portray in those situations, especially
Hmm.
you said you were on the road and going to those seedy places and even the workplace. Do you feel that you had to have a poker face ever or to not
Oh,
let people know what
yes.
you're going to? Okay.
Oh, my goodness, yes. If you walk the halls of Indigo, my facial expressions are legendary. They are
Yeah.
legendary. I didn't
Mm.
even realize that they were but they are legendary.
So how do you think people see you or even you, Zena? How did you see it? Well, ask Zena that. How did you see her, Zena, when you didn't know her?
when I didn't know Miss Aletra, it was I'm not playing no games. Ma'am, move out the way. I'm coming
Oh,
through.
get
It
out
was
the way.
like paparazzi 5.0 when it came to Miss Aletra. She wasn't looking for you to look at her, but you couldn't help it. You couldn't help it. And sometimes it was kind of scary. Like, is she upset? Does she need a hug? And I'm
Yeah.
like a hugger. I'm like
Okay.
Lotso the bear off of Toy Story.
Okay.
And Miss Aletra at the time, before we got to know, it was like, okay, like, I don't got time for this. What is it that you need? What is it? And she always articulated her words so well. But once she got to know me, it was
she
like
let you.
I knew I needed in my life, because Aletra don't play no games. She is very well educated, very well spoken. She was that person that if she told me, I listened.
Ooh.
If she gave me the advice, I took it. If she warned me, it was going to be one and done. You should have listened to me the first time when I said. So I think if you don't know her, yeah, it can be very intimidating. It could be like, dang, like, what's she tripping for? But once you get to know her, man, please.
Yeah.
I love her. I love her to death. Like I said, the last piece of advice she gave me, I live by that. I don't pray anymore unless I'm specific with God. I roll drive through, I make my phone call, I call Jesus, I be like, God, it's me again. She taught me how to be specific in my prayers. And that was the last conversation that I had with her upon me leaving Indigo and, venturing off doing my own thing. And I take that. I live by it. I eat it. I breathe it. I tell people about it. So she's a wise person. So you're missing out. If a person doesn't know you, they're just missing out. And
Absolutely.
so what, they missed out. She has lots of love to give.
Yes.
What's so funny is I hear people say all the time, you just look so mean. But this is the crazy part about it. 9 times out of 10, I have an earbud in my ear and I'm listening to a book.
Okay.
Because I'm a very avid reader. So I'm lost in this book world. And my facial expressions are like, oh my goodness, what did he just say? What just?
Yeah. Like,
they think that it's geared toward them. And I really haven't even honestly seen you standing there, to be honest. And then secondly, if you don't see an earbud in my ear, I'm creating a world in my head, or I'm listening to a song that I heard earlier. So I don't even know you're there half the time. And so people take that the absolute wrong way. Like I'd be like, no. I was like, wait, you saw me where? I was like, okay.
Now, do you, when you first like if you have a subordinate or something, do you purposely set the tone with them early? Because I remember when I first met you, you said something, you was like, okay, I'm gonna get this notebook. I'm gonna tell you this. And she said it, and then poof, she was gone. I was like, where did she go? And then you ask her again, she's like, where that book at? So you got to write it down. So are you setting the tone with people? And if
I
so,
do. So
where you get that from?
I have to set a tone. I'm a mom. It's really that simple. I'm a mom, and you have to set a tone. You can't give a leeway, right? You get a leeway, people take advantage. And my personality type, I don't enjoy repeating myself. It's not that I cannot, but I'm very self-aware of my personality limitation. A lot of people are not that self-aware about themselves, but I'm very much self-aware. I've done the work. I've done the therapy. I've read the books. I've done the journals. I've read the Bible. I've been to church. I've done it all to be very self-aware of myself in the flesh, myself in the spirit, myself in this world, and who I want to be in the next. I'm very self-aware. So I know that little niche about me and constantly repeating myself. So I will say, here's a notebook, here's an ink pen. I'm going to teach it to you. Write it down. Say it back to me so I know that you have it. So when you ask me again, I'm going to say, did you check your notes?
Right.
And if you tell me you checked them, but you didn't write it all down, you didn't understand, okay, we can do it again. But then we shouldn't have to do it again after this. But that's me being self-aware of myself.
Teacher too.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have, of my 3 boys, my oldest one is dyslexic. My middle son has some learning disabilities. And then my youngest son is a gate kid, which is gifted and talented. So I had to learn how to adjust to those 3 different learning skills. So I try to meet people where they are at all times.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Definitely got to do that.
Yeah.
Actually, some people I find play sports, some people gamble, some people even go see a therapist. And you said you've done all that work. Did all those things kind of help you keep from giving in to the pressures? Because the part we've heard so far is a lot. So does all that kind of help you become a rounded person to deal with everything?
Yeah, I mean, it was therapy or smoke crack. I chose
Mm,
therapy.
might be cheaper long run.
No, in the long,
Yeah.
I chose therapy.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now I will admit I did meet some crackheads who can fix a car real cheap. So they do know some stuff. So
Listen, now,
I ain't
now
gonna let you
don't
talk bad
get
about all of them.
listen, don't get it wrong, because I could build a house and fix your car. I can do all those
Okay.
things.
Yeah. Ooh, you the
But
Renaissance woman right there.
yeah, I chose therapy.
Okay. All right. Let me pivot back to law school. That was a huge thing to do, in my opinion, to say, okay, you know what? I got this education, got that, got 3 levels. And I guess you're probably in your 40s and you wanted to go back to law school. What made you want to take on that one, law school? Because that's a hard thing to do.
So I never stopped going to school. That was the thing.
Okay.
So with my GPA for my undergrad, that allowed me to start whatever my next program was my senior year of college.
Okay.
And my mentor, who is a judge, she told me, she said, don't go straight to law school. Take something with you. So if the courtroom isn't for you, you can do other things. So although she was a judge at the time, she was also a CPA. So she
Okay.
said that allowed her to do corporate law.
Mm,
So she told me pick another discipline outside of criminal justice and criminology to take with me. So I took a pause, and that's how I ended up in my master's program, and I got it in human resources and fraud investigation. And then as I was finishing that program is when I was going to do everything for law school. The thing that got me, and I have to go back a little bit. When I started my master's program, a friend of mine, she lost her son.
mm,
And when she lost her son, we were there, right? And so she's my fraternity sister,
hmm
and we just was there, but it took a toll on me. And I
mm,
didn't realize how much of a toll it took on me
yeah.
until a couple years after that, my nephew was killed.
Oh, man.
And he died the week before I was to take my LSAT for law school.
Mm,
And the day before his funeral was the day for the LSAT. And so I had a choice to not take it or take it. And so I took it. And I didn't do the best
okay.
because his funeral was the very next day.
Oh, wow.
And so I had to go back and take it again. But even with that, my friend who had lost her son, she was still going through all her grief process. And I was still being supportive of her of that. And then my nephew passing away took a toll on my son. So I was still trying to deal with that while trying to maintain a grade point average in law school. And it wasn't possible. It truly
hmm
was not possible. I tried, I really did, and I just couldn't. So I had to take a
hmm
step back.
Okay. And then you just probably everything else happened in life, so you just probably put law school on the back burner after all that thing kept rolling.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so I did end up going back to look into legal studies, and I wound up starting a certification for, I think it was Homeland Security, and it was Homeland Security, I think, in emergency management. That's what it was. It was Homeland Security and Emergency Management. And I was getting through that. And then I got injured. So then, yeah, I got injured at work, so I had to take some time off for that. And then when I came back to work 4 days later is when my sister died.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man,
So
you can.
yeah, it was a lot. It was like back to back. So I haven't looked back at a school since. I'm like, I just mentally, I
Yeah.
can't do it right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You can get burnt out doing a lot of school because, shoot, I had to get myself hyped up to go to Walmart because it can get
I
ghetto
will
over here.
tell you, law school is no joke though. As much
Hmm.
as I thought that I could get through school with all my 4.0s and accreditations and all of this, law school let me know I didn't know anything about anything.
Yeah. Well, I tell you.
Yeah.
What would draw you to the law anyway? Did you feel like this someone was taking from you before, or you saw some injustice and you just said, I just want to do law? Or
I saw an episode of JAG when I was about
oh
8 years
yeah,
old.
Jag. Uh-huh.
And from that
I,
point on, I wanted to go into the military and I wanted to be a JAG lawyer. That was it. That
Mm-hmm.
truly was what it was.
Yeah.
And Zena, I know you might not know what we're talking about, but it was a show and it was a military show and it was called Judge Advocate General, I believe. But it was about lawyers in the Air Force is really what the show was about.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to be a JAG
like
lawyer.
95. I was like, dang, I was like 14.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I was 8 when I saw that, and it was just so amazing to me to see
Yeah.
a woman on the screen as an attorney, as a high-ranking military official, and she was
Mm-hmm.
handling her business, and that was
Damn it.
going to be me.
There you go. That'll do it.
Because I couldn't be Wonder Woman, so I had to pick something.
Now, you told me an interesting story about why you selected an HBCU. I know you're going to go to I don't know what you call a school that's not an HBCU. What do you call it? A white
But
school?
just a
Tradition?
tradition. Just
Tradition. Okay,
yes.
yeah. So you were going there. What made you choose the HBCU? They're normally smaller, and many people, I don't know if people really respect the degree from HBCU. Do they feel the same way about it? I mean,
No, no.
yeah.
I've had struggles with that. Even trying to transfer in the IU, they didn't want to accept all the classes.
Know it.
So
Yeah.
I literally had to go back to my mentor, who was my professor for my pre-law portion, and have her call them. And she's like, I'm a judge. I'm a sitting judge. How can she not be accredited? I didn't walk off the street. I'm a sitting judge.
All right.
Yeah, so I did have a struggle with that when it came to transferring into another school. And I'll name them. IU ticked me off with that. So I wound up getting my master's degree in Illinois.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Did
yeah.
you do that
So
online or did you go back and
both.
forth? Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
I did both. Yep.
Yeah, because I remember back in the days going to school online was taboo. Like, oh my God, you got online. Then now everybody, you can get your doctorate
It,
on
you
everything.
can. It was the best thing ever for me. People didn't even know back then if you applied that you actually could get your law degree online from the Sandra Day O'Connor Law School in Arizona.
Mm,
A lot of people didn't know that in Tempe, Arizona. So that was one of my options I was going to switch to, and I just never did. But yeah, you can do that. But I chose the HBCU because traditional schools treat you like a number,
yep,
right?
they do.
And excuse me, my husband and I had an agreement that I could go back to college and finish when the oldest one started high school.
Okay.
And so that's what I did. His freshman year, I started looking in the schools, which ones I wanted to go to, what I wanted to do. I went to IUPUI and they treated me like I just didn't exist, just trying to get a pamphlet or ask a question. I couldn't get any
Hmm.
guidance.
Yeah.
So I left there. I went to U of I, same thing. And I knew I wasn't going back to Ivy Tech because there was too many teeny boppers. Like
Oh yeah.
yeah, and back then they hadn't started their 4-year program yet. It was still
Mm,
2-year.
right.
And as a paratransit coach operator, I used to drop clients off at Martin University. And at the time, I didn't know what it was because I was just dropping 'em off and keep going.
Hmm.
And I thought, well, let me go over here and see what this school is about. Because I remember my clients speaking so highly of it. And I walked in and it was like 5, I'm thinking office hours are closing. And come walking down the hallway was this man that looked like Frederick Douglass. And I thought, he stopped. He said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Well, yeah, I just want to get a pamphlet, see what your program is about." And he said, "Oh, come walk with me." Walked me all over the campus. It wasn't very big, but it was big enough and beautiful. Took me to his office, explained the programs to me, asked questions about me. He told me that I was an erudite and to look it up and come back and tell him what it was. And that's a learned person.
Okay.
And yeah, yep, a erudite. And he just was wonderful and attentive and warm toward me. He
Mhm.
took the time to explain it to me. He didn't even hand me a pamphlet ever. He just took me to the computer lab and the books. I mean, just showed me the church, everything. And then he said, "Well, let me take you down here to the office so you can get what you're looking for." Well, another lady was coming and she had her coat on, she had her bag, she was going to leave. And he says, "Miss Funches," he said, "Are you headed out?" And she said, "Yeah." And she said, "What can I do for you, Father Harding?" I had no idea that was the president of the school. I had no
Mhm.
earthly idea. And he said, "Well, this young lady is thinking about going to school. Can you, help her out?" She takes me through classrooms. She walks me down to the financial aid office. She took her coat off, her purse off, sat down, got all the information for me, waived my application fee, filled out my
Man.
financial aid, got me approved for the classes, got me set up in the classes,
Man.
walked me to the bookstore that was closed, mind you, pulled out a key, opened it, went in, got my books, and said, "I will see you on Monday."
Look at there. There,
Just
man.
yes,
Wow.
and she gave me a hug as I was leaving. She walked me to my car. She introduced me to some teachers, and I wound up at Martin University. And it was the best experience I ever had in my life. I'm so
Hmm.
grateful that I walked in that door that day.
Sounds like it. That was customer service with a smile right there. You definitely don't get that
Okay.
at
I'm
larger
still
schools.
on Frederick Douglass.
That's what Father Harding looked like. He looked like Frederick Douglass,
I'm gonna post a
like a
picture of him.
spitting image. And he
Hmm.
was so kind and so nice. And it would be days that we would be at school, and him and the sister would come through. They would give us soup. They would check on us. If you needed something, you would get it. Like, I hate that that school closed, but I
Hmm.
will tell you, it was the best experience of my life. They took me out the country. They took me out the continent to study
Wow.
abroad, to work in different villages and build houses and learn the community. Like, I
Hmm.
wouldn't trade that experience for the world. Anyone who has the opportunity to go to a HBCU, please do. Please do.
What was that degree from there?
A criminology and cultural anthropology.
Well, that's the culture. That's why you was going over all those villages. I was okay. I said, that's a
Hmm.
lot. That's dedicating the law. She was going all in villages and stuff, making sure the law was fair. Okay, but yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Now that reminds me of another thought I was thinking. Sounds like that's a strong woman. Do you have any other people who kind of inspired you? Any other women that you look up to, whether it's family members, community members, celebrities, somebody else that say, man, I kind of want to be like her.
I would say every auntie,
Mhm.
every one of my aunties. People have often said to me since my sister has passed, "Oh my goodness, your niece is so blessed to have you. Oh my goodness, you did a wonderful thing." No, I didn't. And no, she isn't. I am blessed to have her.
Mm,
And I didn't do a wonderful thing. God did a wonderful thing by having wonderful women in my space. My aunties were everything to me because
mm-hmm.
my mom was 14 when she gave birth to me.
14.
She was a child,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So, and then I was a only child.
Oh,
So I was 11, I think. I think I was 11 or 12, but My aunties were everything. I mean, I do mean everything to me. So you kind of give back what you get inside. And
Mm-hmm.
what I got inside, well, my aunties were life.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I wouldn't be who I am today if it wasn't for my aunties. My great aunt Jessie and my aunt Lois, my aunt Dorothy. I had two aunt Dorothy's
Yeah. Yeah.
and aunt Deb. And without them, I couldn't say I would be the woman that I am today.
Okay. I like that you give them credit too. And Zena and I were talking about this off camera. We were talking about the strong black woman thing. Is that like something that people don't like to hear, like to say? Is she's a strong black woman? Is that a good or is that a pro or con?
It's definitely a con. It's definitely a con nowadays. As a strong black woman, and I am, I in non-African American speak,
Hmm.
I am a beta, right?
You a
I am
beta.
a let me finish. I am let me go back. Let me correct myself. I am a alpha
Yeah.
in a beta's body.
Okay. Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Yeah.
And so because of that, I get a bad rap sometimes. I do. I acknowledge that. But I can't be anything other than who I am. I won't
Let's un
suppress myself to make you feel better about yourself.
let's unwrap that a little bit. You said you get a bad rap. But like, what are you saying? Is it because you intimidate people sometimes when they first meet you, or are you?
I
It's meaning
think
that without
I
getting into
if
deep.
I intimidate them, Zena could probably answer this better than I
She said
can.
you
But
did.
I don't know that I intimidate them as much as I am a handful.
Mm,
Right? I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to ask the questions. And my hands are little too. I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to make you think about what you said to make
yeah.
sure that it makes sense that you said it. And I think
Yeah.
that often people take that as me questioning your authority.
Mm, mm.
And I'm not trying to do that. I am, however, trying to get clarification on the instruction that you've given.
Right, and that's important because you got to know. Because
Mhm.
if you, I think for me, one of the greatest things that you can do is to be a follower. Because if you're a great follower, you can be a great leader. You know what it takes
Mhm.
to follow, and I think that's important. So yeah, I can see how that can come off there, especially in the areas and places you work with it. It just can be a challenge. But going back to the strong woman, do you think a woman, as strong as she is, that she can raise a boy to be a man? Is that something
Oh
in the
no.
wheelhouse?
No. No.
Interesting. I didn't think you was
Uh
gonna say
uh
that.
yeah, no, no. Definitely I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that because I've never been a single mother. I've
Hmm.
never been a single mother. I had my husband who's the father of all my children, right?
Hmm. Yeah,
And it took us both to raise the men. It
yeah.
took us both, right? And it didn't happen with fear. It didn't happen. I will say I covet my children. I think maybe a little too much.
Mm,
But I can say I couldn't have raised men. Not there, no, I'm not a man, right? And that's
hmm.
not to say that strong single mothers cannot guide their children in the right direction to keep them out of trouble, but that is not the same as raising a man.
Okay.
It's not the same.
And
Abs-
vice versa too for the man raising a woman, that girl to a woman. That
Absolutely. Absolutely. Only thing a single father can do for a young lady, in my opinion,
yes.
okay, because I was also raised in a two-parent household. My
Hmm.
mother, even though I didn't spend a lot I didn't spend all my time in the space with her, she was not a single mother either. She had a
Mm,
husband, okay?
yeah.
So for single fathers, really, in my opinion, what they can do is show their daughters what not to accept in a man.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't raise her to be a woman. You can, however, raise her to be mindful of the company that she keeps.
That's true. And I think men also can show their daughters how they should be treated too.
Absolutely.
By example, it's a lot of things that I try to do that with my daughter. So that one's
Mhm.
kind of personal mix for me. So I understand that.
Yeah, you can definitely show her what not to take in a man.
Yep.
Because if you opening the doors, she know not to be with one who will not open the door.
But I have
You know,
I have
if you
different
speak
thoughts
a
on that one.
if you speak a kind word to her all the time, and for the most part are disciplined with love, then she knows to not be with an abusive man.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Without you having
Exactly, because she's going to see and know the feeling that this guy is giving her is not right because my dad never did that,
hmm
right? So I tell these young ladies, now this is one thing I stand firm with, and I tell my sons the same thing. As long as I was married to that man,
hmm
I know I did stuff to irritate him. I know I did.
Purpose?
I not on purpose, but we were
Okay.
young. Like I met him, I was 12. I think I was 12, 13. And my son's 35, gonna be 36.
Okay.
And so I know I did things to make him want to wring my neck, especially when I look back on it now.
hmm
Never raised his voice to me. In all these years of knowing him, he never raised his voice to me. He never said an unkind word to me. And he never put his hands on me, ever. So, with that being said, I tell these young ladies, you do not have to tolerate that. Because
hmm
where there is a fool, there is someone who's not.
That's right. Yeah.
Leave that fool where he's at and be done with that.
As you know, they say that's a good man, Savannah. Now, let me ask you this. So we're going back to the marriage. You said you put the divorce on hold because you were doing the
Mhm.
adoption thing. So what are you going to do with that? Are you going to move forward to stay there? How do you want to do it?
Oh,
Because
no, we're gonna move forward without a doubt.
I hate to see people go through that. It's such a hard thing even there. But I imagine you probably know yourself now. And would you ever get married again now that once everything is done? Is that something that you want to do? Or because you in a male dominated industry, I mean, you see things. Is it worth it again? I mean, that whole
It
subjection
ab-
thing.
it is absolutely worth it again with the right person. I will say I don't know that I have the patience to do what Zena was describing before we started filming. But I will say that if the right man finds me, I'm not opposed. I'm not
Okay, again, let's take the bow off that bad boy.
okay.
Zena, I'm gonna ask you. You know
oh,
Aletra. She's firm. She knows her stuff. And what type of man would you consider that she? What kind of man you think that Aletra would?
she
Who would he?
needs like
Would
a
he?
and sorry, he just is
A
not
who?
here any. She needs like a Malcolm X.
Wow, dang, that's
Actually,
setting the
I,
bar way high.
but
well, that's the thing though, Zena. A lot of people think that because I have what you see to be a strong personality, I am actually a super introvert.
Hmm,
no,
Like
you are.
I
I don't
really
know
Oh,
am a
about that
super
one.
introvert.
Introvert? I
I
don't know about that
Yes.
one.
to get down. If you
Uh-huh.
call her, she's putting on them black Nikes,
Yes, I will.
Oh,
and
Mhm.
I will say this. I will say that dating is not no joke. Now, I have been out here in the streets.
hmm
I It is very difficult. I think meeting the guy that I just met, if the intentions aren't the same, if the alignment is not the same, if you don't want the same things, then that's what's going to make it hard. Once you meet a person who is aligned, it doesn't have to be all the way, just a little bit, then you're good. But dating now, I would see Miss Alitra with someone who brings out the stuff that she holds dear. Because she's not the type of person that just goes around with a microphone and gives good advice and approaches everybody. That is just not her. but she has a good heart. She has a good spirit. And once you get to know her, she will play no games about you. Absolutely none. If I deleted a lot of people's phone numbers in my phone, I kept Miss Alitra's.
I know that's right. I guess
I
I'm
kept,
very protective.
I
I'm very
kept,
protective about the ones I care about.
because she will put them on because she's very
Yeah.
protective. She's
I
not
don't
gonna play.
believe that.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about this now because I'm thinking, I was wondering, you said Malcolm X. I guess, I don't know. So, Alitra,
That's
would you
why.
have a problem with being in subjection?
No. I see Miss Alicia with someone who is just as well educated
Oh,
as like on that level. Because if I was to hook Miss Alitra, it wouldn't be with someone who does not know how to properly conduct a conversation. It would not be
uh-huh.
with a person who would be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Elite. I mean, what's going on? I mean, no, absolutely not. Because her tolerance for that level of ignorance, we're gonna say it just like that,
Mm.
is
Well,
is
okay,
slim.
so let me address two things here.
Yeah.
The first thing, the question you answered, Ward, I absolutely would not have a problem with that.
Okay.
I would not. I have no problem being led by someone who is going somewhere.
Mm. Okay.
You cannot, however, expect that out of me if you're going nowhere, right? So I'm not expecting for you to already have this $1 million house or this drive this G Wagon or have this super legacy because my husband was a trust fund kid, right? So I know what that
Mm-hmm.
looks like. I know where all that's about. I know what money looks like. I know what poverty looks like. I'm not expecting for you to have it all. I'm not even expecting for you to be equal to me. If you are wearing construction boots and you getting up and going to work every day, I'm good with that.
Okay.
Okay. What I don't need is for me to get up and go to work every day and you still sitting here when I leave and then still sitting here when I get home.
Mm.
That outside of that, I'm easy going. You
Okay.
don't always have to be the super intellectual because sometimes I have no problem putting on my tennis shoes and jeans and talking that talk and walking that walk with you. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I need to know that when I want to go to an event or I want to have that debatable intellectual conversation, that you can meet me in the middle with that,
Mm-hmm.
right? I don't need a Malcolm X and I don't need a Martin Luther King. I just need a man that loves me. That's it. And whatever comes with that.
So you saying Leroy fresh out of jail, who done read every book in there, as long as he willing to get up and go to Popeyes, he got a shot.
Not at all.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Well,
I mean,
well,
took my Malcolm X and brought it all the way down to Pookie. Honey,
I'm just saying.
Mm-mm.
Pookie
I'm
need
not
love too.
I'm not saying that I do not believe in rehabilitation or recidification because I absolutely do. I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
cannot not because my father comes from that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I absolutely believe in it and I know it's absolutely true. But at the same time, you would have had to have some time and I have to see some change and improvement
Mm.
to even let you enter into my space because you cannot bring your brokenness for me to heal you because I am not your mama. That's why I say no to that. I cannot heal you. I've
Right.
done the work for myself. I
Mm-hmm.
can't let anybody break me down and I cannot build you up.
So he had to get his book and write down everything first time because you're not gonna repeat it to him.
I am not.
Okay. As
I
long as
am
we,
not.
what about dating out your race? Would that be an option as well too, or does it have to
Oh,
be a
I'm
brother?
good with that. Listen, people see me and they know how I am, but I'm gonna tell you, I have no problem. I have no
Okay.
problem. Love
All
me a little
right.
sugar drop now.
What do you think? How do you think relationships are today in comparison to say 20 years ago? Do you see any
Oh my
shifts or
God.
things what we're doing now, or is it
Yes.
better, worse?
I will say I'm kind of biased
Okay.
because I've never dated. I never dated. Like, I met my husband, I was in the 8th grade. We dated all through high school or whatever you would call it for kids, and then we married.
Mm,
So I've never been in the streets. I've never dated. I've never had to do any of those things. But all my friends were single,
hmm
and I saw what they went through, and it was horrible. It was not pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was not pretty at all. And I don't have the mindset to go through anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Dating does have its challenges, I think, because, like you said, back in the days, computers weren't as widely in use as today. Because now your phone's basically a computer, and I think we see so
Mhm.
many things where relationships in the media is not portrayed the same way as it probably is in reality. And I think people are seeing it because, like, now BBLs are the thing, and was it 50-50, and he got a my money is my money, his money is our money type thing. So
Oh,
it's
no,
so
is I want to marry him and live in separate houses.
yeah.
No, not so much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes that could work rather than Dennis Rodman did that.
No,
He bought his
I,
wife a house
that's
down
not.
the street.
Mm-mm.
You wouldn't
It's,
do
We
that?
gon' no. We gonna have to be like my grandparents. On the days you don't like me, you can go downstairs, you can go down the hallway, but you better not leave this house.
We locked in.
Locked
Okay.
in.
Wow. Okay. So I see we're on there. So people got a chance. So I don't know, Zena, maybe we was wrong about it. It don't have to be Malcolm X. You just wanna do who
Malcolm X just because. I
yeah.
mean, to
He
me, he was, I mean, and
Yeah,
not the real Malcolm X, the Denzel Malcolm X. He was fine.
yeah. I don't listen, I just want a man that don't play about me.
Mhm.
That I
That's
try to
all
tell
I
people,
need.
a
Yes.
He
man
don't
don't
he
no
don't
game.
play about me and he don't play with me, and I'm
Nope.
good.
I want to talk about, I want to zoom out a little bit and talk about some of the challenges that women have overcome over the years. I have a little thing here about women challenges. I want to just quote this and see what you guys think about this. It says here that I think, Alicia, me and you may have talked about this before, that a woman couldn't actually get a house or a credit card or something back in the days without her husband's signature or
Absolutely. So I'm of the age that I remember having to pay to use the restroom as a colored individual. Okay.
what? Wait a minute, you had to
Yeah.
pay to use the restroom, like in a
You had
store?
yeah.
That's crazy.
So I can remember you had to pay a dime to use the restroom as a colored person at Sears. And they had a restroom attendant to make sure you paid. And they had hand towels. You didn't have paper towels. And I can remember my aunt not and so I thought that was normal, right?
Mm,
When I found out it wasn't normal, but I also still didn't know it was a form of racism either, was my aunt didn't have change. And I
mm,
had to go to the bathroom. And back then, little girls, when they went out, we wore dresses and
yeah,
pantyhose and patent leather
mm,
shoes. And I had to climb under the stall to use the bathroom and
yeah.
unlock it from the inside so my aunt could come in and help me.
Mm,
And
mm,
someone came in the restroom and she got so scared. And I had never seen my aunt scared. She's like the epitome of me. Like, I am the image of her. And so I never had seen her scared until that moment. And we stayed in that stall until the lady who was in there, she left out. And then we finished, we washed our hands, and then we left out. And she was like, don't ever tell anybody we did that. And that stuck with me because I had no idea what that was about.
mm.
Right. But I come from that type of time. I remember when women couldn't get mortgages in their names.
Yep, yep. Mhm.
That really wasn't that long ago. That was just in the 80s, right?
Right. Yeah,
We're not talking the 20s, you know, or even the 1800s. We're talking 1980 something.
yeah, like
Um,
yesterday.
yeah, and it hadn't been too much after that women could get checking accounts. Because at one point they let them get savings accounts, but they couldn't get checking accounts because women couldn't write checks. So I kind of remember those things, and my grandmother taking me to the bank to open me up an account because we could, right?
Yep.
I can remember a time when, and this is my time, we're talking the 90s now, right? I couldn't get a tubal ligation without my husband's signature.
Yep.
This is
That's
the
on too.
90s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
talking
crazy.
we're talking 1997, 1998.
Yeah.
This isn't that far gone,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember those things when women couldn't have.
Yeah. Also, on this list is you couldn't refuse to have sex with your husband. Your job
Yeah.
wasn't guaranteed if you got pregnant. They didn't have to hold your job. You couldn't be in the Olympics as a boxer. There's a lot of stuff that I didn't know women were. I'm just shocked. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't know. So I imagine that kind of comes back to the workplace. Do you feel like you kind of got overlooked at your job with all the experience you have? Have you ever been like overlooked just because you're a woman? You think people still got that mentality?
I think it's a combination. In the beginning, it may have been, I'll stick with women. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I do know that in my early years there, I experienced some racism
Hmm.
and then some sexism, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But those kind of things came with the time that we were in.
Yes. Yes.
Not so much having anything to do with the company itself, but just the older generation that worked there still in that mindset,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, and I was always, again, more forthgoing, more into everything. So I was always into something, learning
Hmm.
something on the front lines of something. So I
Yes.
ran into a few things, and so I remember, and I don't talk a lot about that because it's relatively dangerous nowadays.
Yeah.
But I remember Friday, and I had to go into the office, and I was guard, and I remember the guys in the garage calling me the flying nun
Wow.
and hooting and hollering and all kind of crazy stuff. And yeah, that was an experience. And so after that, I just don't in the workspace.
Hmm.
Those older gentlemen, they're gone, right?
Yeah.
And the younger crowd are more acceptant of those types of things. But back
Yep.
then, anything outside of Christianity was not acknowledged just because people didn't know about it.
Yes. Yeah. I think also it's not that uncommon for people to have those biased beliefs because when Serena Williams was in the hospital giving birth, she was telling the doctors that something wasn't right, and they didn't believe her. So they said,
Mhm.
"Ah, this ain't that," and then she rich and famous, and they didn't believe her. It's like sometimes people just don't see value in black women, and black women historically have held families together, and and like I just wow,
I've
it's
experienced that with my last child that I gave birth to. He actually died at birth.
wow.
And
Sorry to hear that.
my entire pregnancy just didn't feel right. And I talked to my doctor a lot about that. I was like, something's not right. I don't feel right. This is actually my fifth pregnancy, so I know what being pregnant feels like, and this doesn't feel that way. And the whole time he's like, well, you'll be okay. Everything will be okay. I'm like, I think I should be having this baby. He's like, no, it's this day. I was like, no, I think it's this day. But you can't force him to
Right.
do it.
Yeah. Hmm.
And I went for my last appointment and there was no heartbeat when I should have been taken 2 weeks prior because I was a high risk pregnancy. So it would have been a C-section regardless.
Hmm.
And I lost my child like that. And I will never forget
Oh
that
man.
doctor came in the room to speak to me and my husband. And he gave this long speech that half of it I don't remember because I was just in shock. But I remember his last words to us being, sometimes shit happens.
Dang.
Literally what he said. And we were a couple of 20-year-old kids, you know,
Mm-mm.
and I was like, oh, well, wow. Okay. Yeah, I'll never
Yeah.
forget that. And so we are
That's
just
harsh.
we're not listened to as women. Like we
I,
don't know our bodies.
yeah, I definitely believe that. And I think the more I do shows like this, the more I'm educated. And it kind of reminds me of Kamala Harris as her being a woman of color, and she was running for the highest office of the land. Already had #2 spot. I think people didn't trust her because one, she was black, but two, because she was a woman. And I don't think that that's fair. I don't know. I guess I don't know why. I guess guys are used to running things, but me, I'm just like, we get the job done, let's do it. But I don't think people always see it like that.
And this is what gets me about people not voting, period, let alone voting for her, is nobody had issue with voting for Barack Obama. And he is I think Ethiopian and white, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Mother from Oklahoma, father from Africa. But they
Yeah.
had a problem with her, and she was the same situation. Her mother's West Indian and her father was Jamaican.
Hey, she got a white husband.
Yeah, so really to me boiled down to her being a woman, because you
Yep.
can't say that it had anything to do with her
Mm.
ethnicity, because Barack Obama was raised by the whitest of white. He's Oklahoma, right? His father was as African can get African, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
he was the epitome of
Mm.
biracial. She's the same. Jamaican, West Indian, married to a Caucasian man. This is the epitome of biracial. So it
Yeah.
had nothing to do with her ethnicity. It was all about her gender.
And that's crazy. That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, all about her gender.
Well, I guess it kind of goes back to DEI. Do you think DEI was needed, and do you think it really helped out people?
People look at DEI so wrong. They look at it so wrong. People who know no better thought that DEI was for people of color,
That's where they spin it.
right?
Yeah.
Whether it was Jamaican, West Indian, Trinidadian, whatever that you considered a person of color, they thought that's what DEI was. That was not what DEI was about. DEI was about bringing back equality to ethnistic people,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
So at some point, someone said African American people or people of color are no longer the minority, they're the majority.
Hmm.
People of non-color are now the minority. How do we get that group back to where we want them to be? How do we bring them back to equality, right?
Yes.
So then you come up with programs like DEI,
Mm.
because DEI did not help people of non-color. What
It didn't.
help people of color. What DEI did was help people of non-color, right?
It did. You're
And
right.
and people who had a different sexual orientation than what the Protestant believe should occur.
Mm.
I don't really know how else to say that. I'm trying to bring it down as much as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand.
But, we live in a Protestant country, right? And
Yeah.
then in this Protestant land, it says Adam and Eve, period, right?
Yep.
But there is more than that in the world. So
Hmm. You're right.
what DEI did was help the more of the world,
Hmm.
right? Anybody who stood outside of that Protestant box that we've been
Yeah.
placed in.
I see that.
Yeah, and so people just took it wrong, and when they got it, they didn't understand it, and then they applied it in places that it shouldn't have been applied.
Yeah. I
That
think. on purpose almost.
And that was the issue with DEI. They applied it in places that it wasn't meant for. So now all the people that it was meant for who actually need it no longer can benefit from it. And it's not the ethnic community, because it was never meant for that.
Mhm.
It was meant for the ethnic community.
Yeah. Yep. I have in my notes, it says here that white women have been the major beneficiaries of corporate diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, particularly in increasing their representation in management and leadership roles. So it seems like they did get some benefit out of it too, and I don't think people recognize that helped them as well.
Because
Okay. All right.
that's what it was made for. It was made to bring back, just like affirmative action was created for ethnic individuals to
Yep.
bring equality. DEI was brought for non-ethnic individuals to bring equality.
hmm
But if you didn't know that, you didn't know that, and you applied it to places based on your own bias.
Right. Yep.
Right.
And
So
that can reshape other things.
if I'm a non-gender conforming individual and I'm in charge of applying DEI practices, I'm going to apply them to non-gender conforming situations, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a woman, I'm going to apply them to glass ceiling situations, right? So it was too biased. It was too open.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm gonna pivot on this because we're almost done with this. We just got a few questions I ask you in this section I like to call "Getting to Know You" rapid fire questions. So,
Okay.
but before I do that, let me just say, if anybody just tuning in again, I want to remind you that you're listening to What's Up With WarDtv and What's Up With Ward, the podcast, and we're interviewing the great Aletra today. My first question is, if someone had to play your life in a TV or movie, who would you want to be that person to play you?
Angela Bassett,
Any particular reason why?
because she's me.
Okay, then. Gotta do it.
She's sweet, she funny, and she don't play no games.
There it is. I like that. What about you, Zena? Who would play you?
My God, I thought this was about Miss Aletra,
I got to keep you in it too.
and I'm going to say Nia Long.
Okay.
See, I would have said Kiki Palmer.
Really?
Yes, I would have said Kiki Palmer.
She close to Angela Bassett. Real close.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
if it was with me, I'd have Will Smith play me. We're the same age and we have similar background. I didn't do all the extracurricular stuff he do, but yeah, I would like him. He's a good actor. Next question. Did OJ do it?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yes.
Okay. All right. I know that divided the country. I remember where I was when he told that verdict. I was like, But we could get into a whole nother show about that. But I think we had a different relationship than somebody else had because we didn't care if we did it or not. Because
I think he did it. I think she was a casualty. I think he meant to get that man.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. I actually know some doctors who actually worked on the case, so I got some inside information I can't really talk about. Somebody might be looking for me. But next question: what is your go-to comfort food? What do you like? If you did like, hey, I want something good, what is it?
For me, jollof rice and king crab leg.
Jollof. Never had that one.
It's
Okay.
great.
A place you've always wanted to travel that you have not traveled to.
I must say that I haven't been.
Memphis, Kokomo.
No, that's small fries.
He don't know you, Miss Aletra.
Mm-mm. I think the only place I haven't spent any time in is, I would say, Germany.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say
Perfect,
Germany.
Newton. Okay. How
Yeah,
much money is too much to spend on a trip?
there's no limit.
Dang. Okay. She went Master P on us. All right. All right. Now, most people have a hidden talent Me, I can make my right foot get 3 degrees hotter than my left foot. So everybody's got a secret talent. What is yours? What is your secret talent?
I can read 6 books at a time and
Dang,
remember all the characters. That's my hidden talent.
that's a lot. Yeah, when she started dating this dude, she ain't gonna forget nothing. I told you, you get up at 3 o'clock. It's 3:02. You supposed to stop at a stop sign by 3:03, and you been where you been? But anyway,
Huh,
okay. So you read a lot. What's the
I
best book
do.
that you've read?
goodness.
Honestly,
If
I
you had
would
to
say
say,
the Bible.
oh, good one. That's my favorite too. I'm glad you
Mhm.
said that. Zena, what's yours?
It wasn't the Bible, but Skyscraper by Zane.
I'm saying,
Oh.
y'all sound like y'all know about that, but I'm scared to ask. But
That might be out your wheelhouse,
it
Mr.
might be.
Mr.
That's because
Williams.
I'm thinking, Alitra, if you could give your 25-year-old self one sentence of advice, what would it be?
Don't marry that man, stay his girlfriend.
Wow, that's what you tell him that, huh? Would you have listened?
No.
Okay, then. All right.
But that's what
Uh,
I would have told myself.
okay. Yeah, because I'm like, who are you, girl? You just probably want it for yourself. All right. Two more. How do you feel about weaves and makeup?
You said weave and makeup.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I'm also a cosmetologist.
Hey,
Yeah, that was one of my early takings.
let me
Uh,
write it down too. Dang it. Another one.
yeah. I actually do not like weave. It itches me. It just, the
Mm.
thought of it makes me itch. And I don't mind makeup as long as it's a soft glam for myself. Now,
Uh-huh.
oh, other people, I think it's beautiful. It's just not for me.
Okay. That's a safe answer. I like that. Okay. And I
I
think I
mean,
know, huh?
yeah, that's just, it's the truth. That's how I feel. Some people wear it and I think it's gorgeous. Some people wear it and I think they should never be without it because
Mm.
they wear it so much that when they take it off, you don't even recognize them.
No, get divorced real quick.
For real quick,
Dog biting you
but
and everything. Who
yeah, I'm
you?
trying to tell you, walk in a room and don't even know who that is.
Your own family be like, I
Um,
don't know her.
you know, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, I'm okay with my tiny ponytail behavior
Mm-hmm.
and my soft glam.
There you go. Yeah. Well, so I know you said you would date. You don't have a problem with dating anybody. Do you have a problem with a man having a man unit?
Yes, I do.
Double
I
standard.
do.
Look at that. What's wrong with a man having a unit on his stuff?
Because I don't need nobody sitting in the shop more than I'm going.
Mm.
I
Okay.
don't need that.
So you on
I
a
don't
date
need.
with him. Second date, he's checked off all the boxes and stuff. He's almost Malcolm X, but not quite. And he only has a misdemeanor, but he got the unit on. You said I'm out.
Yeah, I'm out.
Dang. See that, Zena? Dang, she ain't even. Dang.
Because I need you to be you. I don't need you to be anybody else. That's the thing. If you've lost your hair, just shave it. What are you concerned about what the world is what are you concerned about what the world has to say about your early balding? Just be
Wow.
who you are. God made us
Early.
all individual for a reason.
You said early balding. I've never heard it that way. So
Yeah.
just to be fair, would you tell your girlfriend that same thing? Girl, your
Yes.
hair falling out, shave it off. Don't wear no
Yes.
makeup. Just okay. I believe she probably would too, because she's stern. So I believe that.
I
Nope.
absolutely will have no problem with that. Just like me. I tiny ponytail behavior. I'm okay with that.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And if you don't like it, that's your personal problem. That's not
Right,
mine.
right. Okay. All right. Last question in this round. Malcolm X or Martin Luther King, and why? Which one?
Malcolm X.
Why?
Because he's like my spirit animal.
Yeah.
Yeah, Martin Luther King was too worried about what the world had to say.
Was he? He had five
Yeah.
women. He wasn't too worried. But I.
No, that's just because he was so young. He was
Mm,
young in a world where everything was being given to him without
yeah.
guidance. There's a difference there.
Yeah.
But he was he was so wrapped up into this image, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And worried if he got upset just a little bit, if he angered just a smidgen, then the world would not accept him. So he was too worried about the world,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I agree.
Malcolm was not. And I'm
He
the
should have.
person, I'm not worried about what the next person has to say.
I can see that. I agree.
Yeah,
And you
that
see what
doesn't bother me.
now for her?
Yes, you called it. You called it. I think also what people don't know about Martin Luther King was he didn't really want to be in that role. They kind of forced him in it. He didn't want to do it. He was like, no, man. He's like, but he did. He handled it like a G. I give it to him. But that, I don't think that was his calling. Where Malcolm, he was like, when he started reading and started realizing the more he didn't know by doing the more reading, he wanted to know more, and then he combined that with putting it in action, which made him dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
I respect.
which is why I tell everybody, don't believe what somebody teaches you. If they give you a sentence, ask them where it came from and then go read it for yourself.
Like that. Yep, we call that credulity, just taking somebody's word for it. Alicia, you live multiple chapters already in your life as an employee, student, mother, caretaker, aspiring attorney. What do you want your legacy to be?
People to remember me as love.
Mm, okay.
You can think whatever you think about my facial expressions or how stern I may be or whatever, emotion you're feeling that you interpret my emotions into. But at
Hmm.
the end of the day, it's just love.
Okay.
And
Sister
I want
Love.
people to remember me as love.
When the child that you're raising now grows up, what do you hope she'll say about you?
Honestly, I want her to treat me just like any other child would treat a parent.
Okay.
If I get on your nerves, then I get on your nerves. If I make you
Okay.
happy, I make you happy because I'm really
Yes.
just here to be your parent. Like, you don't owe me anything. I don't need a thank you. I don't need any of what the world thinks I should have because I'm doing what I'm doing. I
Mm,
just, if as long as she's successful and happy and fed, I'm good.
to the good. What do you want other women in their 40s and the 50s to understand about starting over if they had to do what you did? Was there any words of wisdom you can give them?
So start over and don't be afraid of it. Just don't be afraid of it because it is what it is.
Yes.
I mean,
Okay.
sometimes it's scarier to stay.
Ooh,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. Well, so don't be afraid to take that leap. Okay.
Yep, don't be afraid. Just do it.
That's awesome.
He will never close a door without giving you an exit to the room.
I like that.
So
Okay.
don't be afraid.
Don't be just like Nike, just do it. And
Yep.
it's kind of remind me of the book. What is that book you said, Zena? You said you liked again. What was it called?
Skyscraper by Zane.
Okay. Okay. Because I was thinking that I was thinking the title of that what Aletra was saying about starting over to reach the sky but maybe that book is something different. Let me move on. All right.
No, 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 no. Don't Google that. Don't Google that.
I gotta know. I gotta know now because I'm gonna follow up with her. But before we close, I just want to say to Alicia, thank you so much for stopping by the lab today and being vulnerable with the What's Up With Ward TV audience and sharing your story. But before I kick it over to Zena, is there anything that you want to add, correct, or clarify before we let Zena give her final thoughts?
I'm not in the business of convincing people that I'm happy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So just know that I'm okay. I've been through a lot, and people often say, "Oh my God, how did you survive that? How did you do this? How did you do that with God?" And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
I can't worry about too much of anything else. So don't cry for me. Cry with me. Don't pray for me. Pray with me. And remember me as love. And that's it.
Beautiful.
It was an honor to be on this call. It was an honor to be on this call with you. I will always remember this moment.
Thank you. Thank
Yep.
you.
All right. Well, let me get my final thoughts and then we'll get out of here. Aletra's story is not rare, and that's the point. Black women in this country have carried families, communities, workplaces, and dreams on their backs for generations. They have navigated grief without pause. They have worked in spaces where they weren't built for them. They have pursued education while raising children. They have loved deeply, lost painfully, and still showed up for work day after day. Strength has been expected of them and not even celebrated. But strength should not mean invisibility. It should not mean that they don't deserve softness, partnership, rest, perfection, and God's greatest quality, love. Alitra reminds us that being powerful does not mean being vulnerable or unbreakable. It means choosing to rise again and again, even when life rearranges your plans. Black women are worthy of respect, support, and being poured into and not just poured out of. And to every woman listening who feels overwhelmed and tired, but keeps going on anyway, what's up, Award TV audience? We say you and we applaud you. Salute. Thank you guys for watching and listening to What's Up, Ward TV. I'm Wardy Ward, and you know I love the kids. So until next time, peace.
Thank you.
That would be so special, baby. Honey, I knew, 'cause I love you, baby. You know, I know.
Everybody has a story to tell. We just want to know what's yours.